was recently in a conversation with a business owner about an employee's performance. And during this meeting, I kept saying that this employee was a good communicator. And I noticed that the business owner, I said communicator, but the business owner kept repeating back to me, well, yes, I know they're likable. I know that they get along with everybody. And so there was this communication gap. And so today I wanted to talk to you about the difference between being a good communicator and being likable. So being a good communicator does not mean that you're likable. And being likable does not mean that you're a good communicator. We all have someone in our lives, or maybe you are that person, where you're likable, you have friends, or whoever this person is to you, maybe they're likable, you're their friend, but they're a terrible communicator. They have a hard time articulating their thoughts. They don't communicate important things on time, things like that. We all know that person. And like I said, maybe it's you, and that's not a bad thing, no shade. But my point is that these two things are not one and the same. Being a good communicator helps you to be likable, being able to articulate well, say what you mean, that sort of thing. However, being likable does not help you be a good communicator. In a place of business, especially in like a service-based industry, and depending on the business, but in a place of business, we're going to teeter on what we need more of. In general, you want somebody with good communication skills. They don't always have to be likable. If it's in an industry where it's a service industry, where you're helping people, or even something like retail, then it's definitely good to have a good mix of both. You need somebody who's a good communicator and also someone who's likable. Here are the two sides where that might take effect. Being likable. Maybe they're good with employees. Maybe they're good with customers. And generally, it shows up on the customer side. They're good with customers. Being a good communicator means you're definitely good with employees. You're better with management. And you're better in team dynamics. So there's a lot of roles where being solely one and not the other can definitely hurt you, whichever one you are, or whichever one that person might be. Sorry, if you hear the panting, that's my doggo. He's a little hot and tired. It's hot out. So, shoot, I lost my point. So being fully one and not the other, like if you're just not likable, nobody's going to listen to you, so it probably doesn't matter how good of a communicator you are. And if you are amazingly likable, everybody seems to love you for whatever reason, even though you're just absolutely trash at communicating, that's going to come with its own hiccups. Everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, I love that person. They're so nice, but man, they do not listen. They did not communicate to me this problem. They didn't communicate to me that problem. So both of these, if you are fully lacking in one of those, it's kind of bad news all around. So the goal here is to find the balance between the two. So if you are the boss, if you're the owner, like in my instance where I was talking with the owner of this business, and you're looking at an employee and you see that, oh, they are likable, and somebody comes to you and says, hey, they're also a good communicator. Know that those are two separate things. They serve two separate functions in your business, and they serve two separate functions in the results that your business is going to get. Be on the lookout for people that fulfill both those roles, because those are going to be the best. The people with the soft skills that can communicate to people, become friendly with people, and engage people, but also communicate the important things in a timely manner when it's needed, that's invaluable. You can train the harder skills, and you can train soft skills too, but they're more difficult, which is why that's the person you really want to hold on to. Anyway, I hope that helps.